Ora, cá estamos nós outra vez para um Pandemónios. Hoje vai ser em inglês, porque os nossos convidados, um deles é finlandês e é o Harri Soinila. Ele é um comediante finlandês que é bastante conhecido. Já vamos descobrir quão conhecido ele é, mas só para verem mais ou menos o nível, ele entrou numa novela tipo Friends ou assim uma coisa. Eu acho que ele, há partes da Finlândia que ele é completamente uma celebridade. Estão-me a ouvir? Se estiverem a ouvir, acenem-me. Uau, aqui está. Eu estou à espera que eles se liguem. Eles estão na Finlândia, estão um bocadinho a norte, estão em casa, acho, da mãe do Harry. E pelos vistos lá é de dia e é meia-noite. Portanto, vai ser uma coisa engraçada de estar. Estou muito curiosa, estou ansiosa para ver o sol da meia-noite. Tão famoso, o sol da meia-noite. Obrigada pelos acentos e pelos corações. Também vou entrevistar a namorada do Harry. Ela é brasileira, ela é a Frota. Ela é incrível porque ela conseguiu fazer uma coisa que eu não sei como é que ela conseguiu encaixar. Ela conseguiu, sendo brasileira, mudar-se para a Finlândia, que é realmente um país nada a ver, não é? E ela é muito corajosa, admiro-a imenso, é uma mulher de fibra. Ela faz pole dance, ela e o Harry têm uma vida pouco convencional, não sei o que é convencional hoje em dia, não é? Mas já vi, por exemplo, há vídeos na internet, vídeos humorísticos do Harry a tomar um pequeno almoço com ela e ela está a fazer alongamentos, basicamente com uma perna aqui, quase são muito engraçados. Se puderem ir ver ao YouTube, tem muita graça, apesar de a gente não falar finlandês. E então, estás com problemas técnicos? Harry chegou. Vamos lá, vamos convidá-lo para se juntar a nós. Harry to the melting pot. Hello. Oh, you guys are. Wait.
Okay.
Are you in Australia right now?
Yeah, hold on. I gotta put something behind that.
Don't
the
worry.
camera,
Oh,
'cause
you guys
I
look
don't-
good. I missed you.
I don't have a proper tripod here.
Julie, hi.
Hello.
Oh, wow. Here you are, guys. You know, this is just an excuse for me to I miss you a lot and I just want to chat with you. This is just an excuse. I just put a banner on it calling this the conversation Pandemónios, so it could, it's like a registered mark or something. How are you guys? How are you?
You want to
Tell
keep
me
it
about
tax
you.
deductible.
We're good. How are you there in Portugal?
Oh, okay. Well, we're having a lot of trouble with the numbers of the virus thing. It's risen again, but work-wise stopped, right? But I want to know about you guys. How are you dealing with this pandemic?
Well, here they're lifting a lot of the restrictions. They just lifted some last Monday, and now they're lifting some more, and they're planning to lift everything by October. So that's something. Starting next week, bars can be at 75% capacity.
Okay. But you guys are pretty controlled, right? You guys use masks and stuff like that, and you just have you're
Here in
careful.
Finland, I think there were like few cases comparing to most of other countries.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it was pretty controlled, and the people are also conscious, So everybody who could do home office, we're doing home office.
Yeah, and it's not like we
Yeah.
do any bodily contact anyway. Like,
Yes, that's what I was
like
going to say.
we don't do any of the kisses. Like,
No, you respect.
like it was such a
so
shock
much.
to me because the audience doesn't know, but I first met Katarina in Brazil, and like years before that, the first time I went to Brazil, it was a bit of a culture shock for me because I come from a culture where we don't touch each other, like procreation only, and that's it. And then I went to Sao Paulo,
right? You do shake hands, right? Or
yeah, but that's like if you make a contract. Like we don't shake hands all the
with
time.
friends, yeah.
But yeah, here's the thing. I first went to Sao Paulo, and there's one kiss. Then I went to Rio, and it's two kisses. Then I went to Belo Horizonte, and it's 3 kisses. I've never been further north than that. Like I just don't have the courage. I think by the time you get to like Paraná, it's like a little bit of tongue and a hand job.
Oh, baby.
You never know.
Yeah.
We are a
Send someone
people.
first. Yeah. I was gonna ask you just that, Harri, because I read this I don't know, a joke, or how do you call it? I don't know. It's like to prove that the Finnish people are a little bit are introverts, actually, and not a little bit. It's like it was like an introverted Finn looks at his shoes, and an extroverted Finnish people looks at your shoes. Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
Like,
That's,
you're
that's how you
introvert, I
can
look
tell
at
we
mine.
like you.
Oh, this was so this didn't come out right. But yeah.
How do you tell if any
in
person
comedy?
likes you?
In South Africa, they kiss in the mouth. Oh,
Oh, shit.
okay.
Oh my God!
I've
Really?
been to South
Okay.
Africa.
I'll
Nobody
pack my
kissed me.
bags.
Tongue or no tongue?
No tongue, I think. But I have been to South Africa, and nobody kissed me on the mouth.
Oh, maybe they didn't like you, baby.
Well, I mean, there was a girl, but like, it was that was before you.
Okay, this is a roast, a couple roast. I love it.
This is a conversation for after.
No, you present I'm not here. Well, but I want to know a little bit more also about you, Julie. How was I already asked you that, but the audience doesn't know how probably very hard it is to a Brazilian person to live in Finland all of a sudden.
It's different, and you have to get used it. Like, you have to understand what people expect from you, like from a cultural point of view. There's like little details. Like, for instance, here people are very punctual. So if you go to a meeting, it's like 3 p.m. and people are there like 3 p.m. sharp.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
2 minutes later, not 2 minutes earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And then from where I come from, if you're like 15 minutes late, you don't have to apologize. That's like within the, that kind of thing, So
Yeah.
it's very funny because now when I'm dealing with Brazilian people, I need always to keep in mind, like, okay, now it's Brazilian people, so it's like this. And there's another thing that's very funny too, is that Finnish people are very direct.
Yeah.
So if they need to ask you something, they go and say like, hi, and then they ask you something. But in Brazil, there's all this like, how can I say, foreplay for the conversation.
Yeah.
15 minutes of
Well,
small
that's something
talk.
that I
First they're
knew
late,
when I went
and
there.
then you got to do 20 minutes of small talk, and then they get to the point.
Yes, that's what I'm gonna say. You don't do small talk because you think that silence is golden and talking is rubbish. Like, you don't have to ask how my mom is, or you just ask me this is like a respect for the time of the other person, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think you just have to know what is expected from you. So for instance, here I know they don't expect that. And then if I go back home, it's really weird to just start a conversation with someone like, hey, I need that. No, you have to be like, hey, how are you doing? How's the weather? And
Yeah. You have to lubricate a little bit of your social relations.
Yeah.
Right?
I've noticed, like, when foreign people from other countries, when they start talking to me about like, hey, how you doing? How's your mom? And I'm like, just waiting, like, okay, what do you need?
You guys, you have a better time, a better relation with time than us. We waste a lot of time chit-chatting, and that's not useful. Let's face it. It's like, okay, I'm telling someone that I love that person because I like that person because I'm chit-chatting. I don't think so. Is it a sign of simple? I don't know. I agree with you guys. I think there's too much chit-chat in the world. Well, but I was gonna ask. Sorry, you go ahead, Julie.
Like, I don't really mind the chit-chatting. Like, it's actually, it feels weird sometimes when people are like very straight to the point,
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I guess what you mean. Yeah.
If it's by message, you don't really know the tone and all of this. So I don't mind. You just really need to know like what is expected from you in each situation, and that's something I have to be aware all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm talking to this kind of people, so it's like this.
You have to switch every time you encounter someone new. Yeah. How how's your professional life going, Julie? Most people don't know who you are, but some people know who you are. We have some Brazilian people here. We have some Brazilians.
Yeah. Well, I'm very happy to know those friends of mine.
That's my mom. She's very happy that, yeah.
Hey, Mom.
She's a big fan. I'd say she's #1 fan.
That's the reserved slot for the moms.
Yeah. And how's your job doing on this?
Well, it was like when I moved here first, it was like very hard because nobody knew, you know, I would come with a curriculum and nobody knows what all my Brazilian experience meant. So in the beginning it was hard, but I think like I heard that comparing to other foreigners, I actually got a job very fast, so I'm happy about it. And it's really crazy because I changed completely. Like I was specialized in oil and gas for more than 12 years in Brazil. And now I'm working with a nuclear power plant. So it's a huge change for me.
Yeah, shift. Yeah.
It's scary and exciting, but like I'm happy. I'm really happy about it.
Oh, that's so nice. That's so nice. And can you find some comfort from Brazil there in Finland?
No.
You can get chicken hearts.
Oh yeah, chicken hearts.
Chicken hearts, yes.
Have you tried chicken hearts?
You know what? I ate chicken hearts like a week ago because I made my husband to do the barbecue.
Oh,
like
nice.
A proper barbecue. Churrasco na laje mesmo.
Churrasco has to have chicken hearts.
Chicken hearts. Yeah.
But I think it's kind of surprising here for European people in general.
Yeah, my family was so freaked out when we made chicken hearts for them one time.
The thing is, I used to like I used to like them separate, but I never saw like in a spike. That's like dissonant for me. You know, it's like, oh my God, so many. You know, in my days, we had to fish the hearts from the soup.
Like if there's one chicken, who gets the heart this time?
Yes, that's just for the privileged ones. And how about you, Harry? How's the scene after the virus, the comedy scene?
Well, it's pretty non-existent. I've had one show like just before the shit hit the fan. I had like a mini tour. I had 2 shows in Spain and one show in Casablanca, Morocco. And then I got back here just before everything was shut down.
Oh my God.
And, and now everything is starting to slowly open up again. And I had an outdoor show. Next week I'm doing a show at a movie theater, which will be at half capacity. So it's like, you know, safe distance between people ish. And that's like none of my regular shows are running right now. It's non-existent. I'm so glad she has an adult job. She has a grown-up job. I've been useless for the past couple of months.
Yeah, but I mean, there are all the online events going on. There are not so many, but they are online shows. Yeah,
there's online shows. I'm doing a lot of shows on like Zoom and. There's a couple of great ones. There's an American one called The Blue Mic, which is a blue humor, dirty jokes kind of night. But of course, it's at a very inconvenient time because finish time, it starts at 5 a.m. I've done shows in Australia, Malaysia, all over Europe, different shows. One in Russia, American shows. I did one in Brazil too. It's been a long time since I've done that.
And I think that's the last time that I was on an airplane was to meet you guys. I think it was my last trip.
Wow,
that's been a while then.
Oh my God,
I've been to Portugal since.
Yes, you have. Oh my God, that's crazy. Where did you go on your last flight, Julie?
God, I don't remember. I probably
Amsterdam,
yeah, that's true. Oh yeah, so it was a nice place.
Oh, that's why she doesn't remember because it was Amsterdam.
Maybe, who knows?
Yeah, it was all those delicious cookies.
Yes. I wish I would taste one in my life. I will go there too and then forget that I went there. Like you do.
Careful, your mom is watching.
Oh, I'm gonna take her with me.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Getting
And,
high with mom.
I was gonna ask you, how do you guys predict what's gonna happen the next few months about this craziness that's going on in the world? Do you think that's we're not going to learn at all about, you know, like about humanity and stuff like that?
In that sense, no. Like people are going to forget this ever happened and go back to normal until it hits us again. Like I've made a joke. Like I think my favorite part in all those stories about the Spanish flu and the Black Plague is the part where everybody just kind of got tired of staying home and went to the beach.
Yeah.
It's weird, but
yeah, it is.
I think like things are gonna go back to something of a normal. Like maybe some things have changed. Like maybe we'll stop with the fucking handshakes and the hugging.
Oh yeah, that's enough. Thank you.
That would be very welcome.
I think that's gonna go back to normal in Brazil too. Like and especially I just hope at least one thing that I think is going to remain is the new culture, like work culture, because most of the companies, they realize it's totally doable to have people working from home.
Yeah.
And in that sense, I think it's gonna improve the quality of life of a lot of workers.
The impact on the planet is huge, right?
Exactly. And also like the environment, like why not to reduce so many people coming and going every day. So so that's one positive. I think it's probably going to remain somehow, but the other things I don't know. I think people are just going to go back to consuming the things they were doing before, and until it hits us again.
Yeah, that's right.
What do you think?
I'm just waiting for a vaccine, or I don't know. I wish it would. I don't know. If it becomes endemic, it's like something manageable, I think. But if it's like this, I see people all the time without masks and gatherings and stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, this is not going to a good place eventually. I don't know. And but I want to talk about something better now.
Yes.
Is that, Julie, how's your perfect hobby that you have? Your marvelous art. You're very talented, and I'm a fan. You're pole dancing. How is it?
It's nothing changed because luckily I already had all my equipment at home. I never really liked going to studios.
Yes.
So, while I saw all my friends complaining, oh my God, I can't practice, and for me it was like, okay, nothing changed. I have everything here. And
oh my God, it's like you have your own private studio, right?
I have like my own equipment, so that's like really good for me, and I love it. But it changed that this year all the competitions are suspended. So
because you can tell to our 10 viewers that you're an award winner.
I'm a world competitor. Yes. I was a winner in Brazil. It's a big country.
Yes, very nice. That's very nice. And do you dream about having your own studio, or?
No, not at all.
No.
Just mine for myself. Actually, what I've been doing too, because now a lot of people are requesting online classes. That was not so common before. And because that's not how I pay the bills, like I have my job. So what I do now is that when I have online classes, I revert all the income to charity in Brazil.
Oh, that's so nice.
To help people suffering with the pandemic.
So you're talented with an awesome heart. Oh, Harri, that's a keeper.
Thank you. No, I just think it's so little. Like if everybody does a little bit.
Of course.
Yes.
And how the hell is working at a nuclear power plant? How the hell is that?
It's still just the project, you know. But it's really, really cool because I'm learning so many things. Like I didn't know how the nuclear industry worked before. And I'm learning a lot of cool stuff. And I also feel like, you know, that my work as an engineer is contributing to something better here in Finland. So
Mhm,
that's just like really, really rewarding.
Yeah, I
Yes.
imagine that. Yeah. Oh,
Like it's
speaking of
contributing to raise a comedian.
yes, you have material. Yes. Speaking of competitions, me and Harry, we were competing in the funniest person in the world. I don't remember the year, but what I want to know is how was the experience for you, Harry?
I think it was 2016.
Yes, I think I'm terrible with
Yeah.
numbers. I'm
Yeah,
terrible.
it's been a few years, and I think it was an even year. So let's go with 2016. It was I made it a bit further than you did. I was in the
Yes, you did.
semifinals, and it was such a shit show. Like seriously. Like the organization was so bad. Like I had to step in and like, because they sent an email like an amateur with everybody's emails visible,
Oh
but
no!
it turned out to be a good thing because they weren't helping people at all. Like because the first time it was organized in 2014, I guess, Ismo Leikola won. The ass guy from Conan. People may have seen it.
I am the ass guy.
Yeah.
The ass guy. He won. So the next time it was organized in Finland. And because because well I was already here, so like and I had everybody's emails. I started emailing everybody like, okay, do you need any help coming here? Do you need me to help book you a hotel? Stuff like that. And people were really appreciative, and because of all this like animosity between the competitors and Laugh Factory, there was like we became like really tight, and I'm friends with these people to this day. And
they would be homeless if it wasn't for you, right?
Yeah, I mean they probably would have figured it out, but like some people were on a really tight budget, so it was a big help for them to have me help them find a cheaper place to stay. Like and well, I mean, for like Harri Fiskander, who is the Conan of Southeast Asia, for him it didn't matter. Like whatever, the most expensive place is nice. But for a lot of people from like other kind of backgrounds, it was nice, and we became really tight knit, and like it was a great experience. It was great getting to know these people. I didn't make the finals. The finals were 5 people, but I went up to Levi with them, which is like very high up north, and it was in the middle of the winter, so it was a winter wonderland with all the aurora borealis.
I envied him so much. I so wanted to go there.
I went there as kind of like a liaison between the comedians and Laugh Factory to make sense of at least some things. So.
How about your show in Casablanca? How did that happen?
I had a couple of shows in Fuengirola. And then I started looking like what are places I haven't been to that I could cover on the same trip, and then I noticed a couple of comedians that I know had done shows at the Irish pub Casablanca. So I sent them a message on Facebook, and they were like, "Yeah, you should come." And,
nice.
But then like the pandemic thing had already kind of started, so it wasn't a big turnout, and I ended up losing money, but it was still a nice experience. I had fun, and they took really good care of me. I can recommend this to if there's any comedians watching, and you like to do solo shows abroad. That is a very nice place to go to.
Yeah, very nice.
I ate shark.
You what?
I ate shark.
Really? Get out! Really?
He doesn't like fish.
I don't like fish, but shark was actually okay.
Wait. So you don't like? You just skipped an entire step.
I've tried fish. I just
don't eat fish, but you eat shark, right? You just ignored a lot of.
I have tried fish. I didn't like it, but when a very intense Moroccan guy who owns the hotel you're staying at wants you to try shark, you try shark.
Oh my god! So you were like, he threatened you, So you can...
No, but he just has that presence. You want to keep him happy, you know.
Yeah, I ate shark because I thought I was gonna die. No biggie.
I ate
How does
shark,
it
otherwise it's
taste
gonna
like?
eat me.
Yeah, yeah. How
Well,
does
of
it
course, I was
taste?
curious. I like trying exotic meats, and
Was
like
it good?
it was
Yeah.
it was better than regular fish.
Okay.
It's like kind of like closer to meat in a way.
Hmm.
And
Oh.
it's the third animal that I have eaten that could eat me. I've had crocodile, I've had bear, and now I've had shark.
Bear is good.
Bear is so
Bear.
good.
Oh my God, Julie, run now!
Yeah,
Oh,
but
bear?
have you tried
Really?
bear? Because it's so
No,
good.
what's that? You
You have
tried
to
it?
come back here.
Oh my God, Harry, run! She tried bear already. Run! Oh my God, no, but you guys made me try how's it called?
Reindeer.
Yeah, reindeer, and I really loved it.
Yeah.
Reindeer is
really
good.
good. It
What
was
does it
really
say?
good.
You have to come to Portugal to eat amazing fish. Yes, I agree.
Yes,
Codfish
yes.
in
And
Portugal.
it's my sister. She's very wise. She's wiser than
Oh.
me, actually.
Hey, sister.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, you have to. How was Harry? How was your experience in Portugal? Can you put it in words, even? I don't know.
It was great. It was a lot of fun. It was great seeing you after all those years.
Yeah,
And well, I didn't have the shows that we had
Yeah.
planned, but
partly my fault because I stopped producing the Kaiserrier nights and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
yeah, there was a bit of a confusion there. But I hadn't been to Portugal before, so it was a fun time, and I tried some great port wines, even though like I was supposed to have good drinking, but I got pretty drunk the night I tried them.
I can see why.
Because
We
there
don't
was
even
just so
have
many of them,
alcohol
and they're
around
pretty
here.
strong.
Yeah, they're strong.
Yeah. And also I hadn't drank anything in months. So,
Yeah.
so
And
I
you,
was,
Julie,
I was a
you've
bit
been
more
in
than
Portugal
tipsy.
already? Sorry. I'm
I
sorry.
have been there. I had a friend living there for a while,
Okay.
so I went to visit for a few days, and it's just amazing because like the food, like everywhere you go, is
Yeah.
so good, and you have the
Yes. Yeah,
pastel de
it
Belém
is.
is amazing,
Oh my God, yeah.
and the views are also so cool. I
Yeah.
just stayed in Lisbon, but
Okay.
it was really cool. I wanted to go back there actually, spend a
No,
lot
you
more
have
time.
to. As soon as
Yes.
the vaccine comes out, you guys do have a bedroom here. You already know that. No, I
Yay.
already invited you to come. I'm just thinking, why the hell did you eat alligator or I don't know what you said?
Crocodile.
Crocodile. Why
yeah.
I'm just curious.
I've had it in two places actually. Once in Kenya and once in South Africa. Both of them have a restaurant called Carnivore, which serves African game meat. Well, in Kenya they actually couldn't serve game at the time because of the drought, so they only had camel, crocodile, and ostrich because those are farmed animals, but you couldn't hunt anything. Then a year or two later, I went to South Africa and they had all the game there. Kudu is the best meat. It's an antelope. It's the best meat I've ever tried.
Really?
Yeah, and lots of others like wildebeest, springbok. They have amazing stuff. If you're a meat eater, definitely.
But are they like soft meats or like with veins and fat and stuff like that?
It's sort of like churrasco.
Nice.
It's a hodizio basically. They have them on spits and they come to your table and cut them for you.
Okay.
Or they put the hat on you and give you the knife and then you cut it.
Nice.
And then your friends take a picture.
But now I'm actually curious, like how you lived in Brazil for how long time?
5 years. 4 in São Paulo and 1 in Brasilia. Yeah, it was 5 years.
Why
Already spoke the language and all.
But why did you live in Brasilia?
Because my husband had a proposition from an agency, creative agency, to move to Brasilia, and yeah, we're like, I don't know, we're not people that wants to stay in one place. We weren't in that time. Wants to stay too much time in one place. So we're like, okay, let's embrace this again and let's
I
move.
understand.
We're a bit crazy. That's it.
Yeah, because like it's not the best place from Brazil, just
Oh, it's not. Yeah, it's desert. It's dry as a desert, and I'm not talking about the city. It's crazy. Yeah. Well, people are less friendly, but they're still very friendly. Not less friendly for Brazil, but still very, very friendly. Because I'm saying this because we went to Alagoas to spend some vacation before we we went to Berlin, and well, people there are crazy awesome, like they grab you.
North of the country is like this, yes.
And it was like right after I went to Faustão, and a girl recognized me.
Really?
Yeah, a girl in a pizzeria. I went to Quem Chega Lá, the comedians contest. I didn't cheguei lá. Yeah, I was there, and it was Easter time, so everyone was watching Faustão.
Nice.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, but I want to talk about being recognized on the street with Harri too, because I told everyone that you were really famous in Finland. Yes. How's that?
I'm not that famous here. I mean, I do get recognized sometimes. It has happened, but it's not like something that happens every day. Back in the day when I was acting in a soap opera, especially when I would come up here up north where my mom lives, because that soap opera is one of those things where people kind of like lose track of what's real and what isn't. And my character was kind of a bad guy, so I'd be at a grocery store with my mom, and then some random person would come up to me to tell me like, "Hey, you gotta stop picking on Teemu."
So it's amazing. A little bit like Brazil also, right? In Brazil, things like that happen a lot, right?
Yeah.
Oh my
I don't know if they still do, but it used to be very common, yeah.
Yeah. What was the show called? You're like Jennifer Aniston villain, right? It's like it was Friends and stuff. It was like Friends or something.
It's called Salatut Elämät, The Secret Lives. It was like it was so popular at the time. Like 2 million people out of 5 million were watching every day, and my part wasn't huge, but I would be on TV like 2-3 times a week, and it was like. It's not like Friends. It wasn't a sitcom. It was more like a soap opera, like The Bold and the Beautiful, like a telenovela. Yeah. So people really, I think to this day, people take them pretty seriously. The show's not as popular as it used to be, but it's still a big deal.
It's still ongoing.
It's still ongoing. It's been going for like almost 20 years.
Oh
like
my God!
18 years now, I think. 18 or 19 years.
I thought you were talking about reruns or something like that.
Oh, no. The show is still ongoing. I haven't been a part of it I was there for less than a year, I think. 18 years ago. I think I was 23, but I was playing a high schooler.
The thing is, you can return you can return. You can receive the call. Like, we need you, Harri. We need you again here. I think
that's been played out.
And Julie, did you see someone recognizing Harri on the street? Did you see that?
Have I? I don't remember now.
I think you've been there like once or twice, but it was like pretty early on you being here, so you didn't understand what's going on. And also
this random girl sitting on.
Because I had no idea. Like, it took a few years of relationship for him to tell me, "Oh, I used to be a star." Like, okay.
I didn't know till he came to Lisbon. So okay, he doesn't want people to know.
I used to be a bartender for like 20 years before. Like, I quit last year just in time before the pandemic hit, because otherwise I might have been out of a job during the pandemic because all the bars were closed. also. So, so yeah, damned if you do, damned if you don't, kind of a situation. But
Yeah.
because of that, a lot of people just know me. Like I say hi to 100 people when we go around just walking downtown Helsinki, because it's a relatively small population. A large number of people like actually know me from the bar. So for
Okay.
her, it might be kind of difficult to tell which one it
Okay.
is. Like,
Yeah.
am I getting like randomly recognized from TV, or am I being recognized from just
Yeah.
the bar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, by the
Yeah.
way, I think Helsinki is like the city with the biggest concentrations of bars per people per capita.
Yeah, at least at some point it was.
I loved Helsinki, not just because of that.
It is a very nice city.
Yeah, it is. It is. Are you comfortable there, right? You just feel. Do you feel at home, or Julie?
I feel like home, yes. And it's funny
that's
because
It is home.
it is home,
Yeah,
yes.
it is home, of course, of course.
But it's funny because I have been to Finland before I met him. You know, so
okay.
I had a friend, like a Brazilian friend living here, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to spend some vacations there. And that's also not when I met him. Like everything happened later. So it was just like a big coincidence.
We actually met on Facebook.
Yes.
Wow,
But there wasn't Tinder
that's
back then.
spicy.
Yeah, a mutual friend of ours. Like, she had just broken up recently from a Brazilian dude.
Yeah.
And she was messaging this mutual friend of ours who at the time was dating this Swedish metal musician. And she told her, like, oh, I'm so fed up with Brazilian guys. Do you know any Swedish guys who I could meet? And she was like, not any Swedish guy, but there is a Finn.
And I was like, that works.
Is it Scandinavian or I don't care?
Not Brazilian. It works. Give it to me.
Yeah.
Then she was looking at some pictures of me and liked what she was seeing, and I was looking at all those pole dance pictures, and I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
And then we started talking. I had already made plans to go to Brazil that year, like a couple of months later than when we started talking. I'd already made plans to go there anyway. I was supposed to be in Sao Paulo for 2 months. And then we started talking, and of course I'm like, okay, I could come for a weekend in Rio to meet you, and you know, we keep talking, and over the 2 months, the time of my visit to Rio kept just expanding, and eventually I spent the entire 2 months in Rio, and that's how this whole thing started.
That's so nice.
I went to Sao Paulo for like a weekend to see all of my old friends, and the rest of the time was her.
Oh, that's so nice. That's so sweet, you guys. That's a crazy, beautiful story that you got.
It's really cool.
It's really, really cool. Really cool. And how was your adaptation to, you know, to the Brazilian thing? The first time that you went to Brazil, Harri?
The first time I went to Brazil, that was like 20 years ago. Let me see.
How was it?
Yeah, that's a little bit better.
Thank God.
Oh yeah, now I can see. Oh,
I was trying to reach the camera.
Yeah, I just had this revelation now. The first time I went to Brazil, I had a month off from work. I had saved up 2,000 euros, and I went to the airport in Tallinn. Went to the airport and told the travel agent lady there to send me somewhere where it's summer. And at first we were looking at Venezuela. At the time it was okay to travel to. But there was some kind of a problem with the schedule. Like, I might not quite make my connecting flight or something like that. So so we scrapped that idea. And then next she was like, well, how about Sao Paulo? And I was like, where is Sao Paulo? And she told me it's in Brazil. And I was like, let's go. And then the next day I find myself in Brazil with no idea where I'm going to stay or where I'm going to sleep or anything like that. But you know, before I even went to the tourist info, this was pre-internet. So before I even went to the tourist info, I just went outside for a cigarette. And I was sitting there, like, at the Guarulhos airport in Sao Paulo, having a cigarette with my luggage next to me, and I kind of felt like home.
Yeah,
so it's
really?
like it was already there. I kind of like made the like I would end up living there for a while, and
nice. That's
Turns
so nice.
out I'm from Rio de Janeiro, so
yeah, I never liked
Yeah.
Rio.
You didn't?
No,
You didn't like
just
Rio.
How is
just
that
this part
possible?
of it.
Yeah, that's the best part for you, actually. I don't
Yeah,
recommend the rest of the places.
and it turns out you can take the girl from Rio.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
No,
Well,
but
talking about a girl from Rio, you know, I was willing to ask because you know, like feminism and stuff like doing with being a girl is being largely discussed. You know, you remember, Julie, when humanity was not evolved enough to look at the what you do in your spare time to the pole dance as an empowering situation. You remember
Mhm.
that? Like it's still
Yeah.
nowadays going on, right? It's still
Yeah.
survive. I don't know how. And I was gonna ask you, do you feel like you're empowered when you dance? And it's like you are most of the people are getting it wrong, or you just feel like many people are already seeing the art as it is.
I think that's a very good question, actually. When I found out pole dancing, that was so like that was so powerful to me, and I think people who do pole dancing, they understand what I'm talking about. It's not a choice, you know. I fell in love like so deeply that I had to do it. It
Wow,
didn't matter what people were thinking about. So
that's
I just
passion, right?
yeah, so I started doing my thing because I like it, the acrobatics, all of the beauty of the thing. So I
Hmm.
started doing my acrobatics, and then I would show, you know, I would go to work and say like, hey, look at what I did yesterday. Look at this picture. And
Oh wow.
I didn't really care. And I think people realized that I was actually talking about some artistic thing. And I
Mm.
personally, I never suffered too much with that. I know that for some other dancers, it's a lot worse. But there were like few times that people were like, oh, so you're a stripper, and then like I like that's also a sensitive subject nowadays too,
Yeah,
you know. Um, but this doesn't happen often to me. I don't know why. Maybe it's my way of expressing myself. But I think yes, there's still a lot of people who don't know what it is, and
hmm,
it's gonna be like this for a long time.
yeah,
And and I don't care. I think people just need to keep doing what they love. Like if I have kids, they're gonna start doing pole dancing because I love, and I don't care, you
of
know. So
course.
yeah.
I think her having to explain that I'm a pole dancer, not that kind, the other kind is like imagine us stand-up comedians having to like every time explain like I'm a stand-up, but not the paddling, the comedy.
Hmm.
Every
That's a
time, every
disgrace,
time, it's so
paddling
annoying.
never.
I'm not a paddler.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah, but that's a sign of not of the opposite of evolution. You know, it's like when you have to explain what you do, it's like it's we're not there. We're still not there, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a very big discussion about it because, you know, the pole dancers, they started saying like, yeah, I'm a pole dancer, but like not that kind. And the girls who are like stripper, they started reacting to that, like, what is wrong with me? You know,
Yeah,
why are
of
you
course.
talking about me?
Yeah,
Because if you think about it, like they're not doing anything wrong, they're not harming
of
anybody.
course,
So
of
why is
course.
it that we talk like this? Oh, I am a pole dancer, but not a stripper. Why is that such a sensitive subject?
That's
Um,
that's really that's like on point. What you said is just on point. It's like, do I get offended if people call me a stripper? I shouldn't because it's not an offense,
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
right?
But it's kind of that's why I like his example about the stand-up because it's like you just
Yeah.
get tired of explaining. No, it's not paddling. It's a stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
It's like I would
Yeah,
get
it's like,
upset.
would you get upset? Would you get upset if somebody thought you were a coder?
Yeah, but if they ask you this every week, you end up getting upset.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's the difference. But yeah, I think what's empowering about it is that like the good thing, the empowering thing about pole dancing is that every time you do, you manage to do something new, you get into like a new position you have never done before, and the achievement is so good because for instance, I danced ballet for many years, and in ballet you have a very limited amount of movements comparing to pole dancing. So you have to nail like a pirouette and then an arabesque, and that's it. And
That's so nice.
yeah, and then like for most of the other dances, you spend years trying to perfect on one thing. While in pole dancing, if I'm not good at this, I can try this other thing, and I feel good about it. So
And you're like trying to unite two passions of yours in just one gracious thing, like a transition or like a move or something like that, right?
yeah, and it's like, and there is room for everybody. So for instance, if you're flexible but not strong, you're gonna be doing beautiful things. If you're dynamic, you're gonna be doing beautiful things. Like boys that comes from parkour, people who comes from circus. So there are like amazing kinds of pole dancers that are completely different from each other, and you can find yourself, and you can find the best version of yourself.
Yeah, it's nice because you don't have like a typical pole dance body. Like everyone can do it, right?
Exactly.
Like it's like inclusive. It's an inclusive art actually,
Exactly.
because like and if you never did it, do you think like it looks harder than it? No, I don't think it's harder than it is. It's very hard. You have to have a lot of
harder than it looks.
strength and stuff. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think getting started isn't as impossible as it looks. But like, once you get advanced, it look like there's kind of a curve to it. Like the basic stuff that like I've seen people like be able to do something that actually looks pretty impressive, and then they're very happy about that, and then you can build up on that.
You have given a name to some maneuvers, right, Julie?
Yeah, I have some tricks. Yes.
Did you register that and like intellectual property?
Not exactly. I mean,
it's just kind of bragging rights.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want you to. Yes, that's why I'm asking that.
I have.
I love it. I'm a fan.
I have. What?
It is true. It is true. Somebody tried to get pole dance as
my sister
as an Olympic event. And
we're still trying.
They're still trying.
It really deserves it.
Yeah. There are the different categories. There are the events that are more artistic, and then they have like no rules. You basically can perform what's in your soul. And there are the Olympic ones that you have to show all the movement. Previously, you have to send them the score sheet with all the movements.
So, there are different kind of competitions. Some of them are like just sport. And then there are others which are like overall more artistic, and they have different categories. One of them is like it can be like comedy and storytelling, kind of like different subgenres. But yeah, there's actually there's kind of like a divide into two, where one is more like artistic and maybe a bit more sensual, like they might wear the heels. Whereas in the sports categories, you can't wear heels. It's very strictly
barefoot,
like you have to, your pants have to be down.
Oh, you're going to exemplify.
Like your entire buttock has to be covered and stuff like that.
That part's a little bit annoying, but
yeah.
And that's actually
that aerial ring that you do, is it's different from you do the ring, right?
Yes.
I don't know the name.
Yes, it's just like a different kind of acrobatics.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful too. I love it too. But I still love pole dancing more. But
yes, that's what I'm gonna ask you. Yeah, you do. It's like your heart is in there.
Oh, they're both so hard. But like my heart, it's there. It's still pole dancing is my favorite.
Yeah, I imagine, because it's like you don't have like 2 days in a row that unless you're preparing to something very specific. You can like you said, just loosen your creativity, and just do some new stuff, or you just focus in improving what you already know.
Usually I try to improve on things that exist already, not that I already know, but like I try to improve on flexibility and try to do difficult tricks that I can't do yet. And so it's very rare that I'm like, okay, let me create something here because it's not very natural for me to create new stuff. But yeah.
How do you live with such a talented person like her, Harri? Tell us. Tell us about your breakfast. How do you get breakfast together? Like her
we actually our schedules are pretty different. Like it's pretty common for us to kind of like high five when she's coming out of the bedroom and I'm going in. I'll go to sleep at 8 a.m. and she's waking up to do her nuclear science. And yeah, it's pretty intimidating. Like I don't feel like I'm contributing anything to to this family.
But you're a comedian.
Yeah, I make her laugh.
Yes.
I think
that's your job.
You make a lot of people like. I think it's very funny. That's like my opinion about comedy, because comedy is something like really hard to do. When you're living with a comedian, you realize it because you study, you evaluate other comedians, and it's very hard. But I think because it comes from a past where comedy used to be a clown throwing pies on other people's faces. You know? So it was something very silly, like decades ago. But people still keep this idea like, oh, comedy, you know, it's like, but when you start analyzing, it's so hard because you have to be up to date with the news and you have to have this like smartness of coming up with something. And if people don't laugh, you need to win the crowd. And this is intimidating. Oh, hell, this is intimidating. Because when I'm on stage, it doesn't matter what the audience is doing. If they can be silent and it's still okay. But if you perform,
that's right.
And
well, if they're silent, it's good for you. It's like they're enjoying the show, not like they're boo, get out of the stage. Right?
It may mean everything. Sometimes people are clapping, sometimes they're silent, but it doesn't mean much. But the laughter for you guys.
Yeah, it's it can't survive without the laughter. It's at first when everything moved online. It was super weird because like there are shows where you're basically just shouting into the void. There's no audience reaction at all. But actually I kind of prefer that compared to a room with just a bunch of comedians, you know, concentrating on their material. Their gig is coming up, their turn is coming up, and we're like nobody's paying attention, so there's like kind of reactions, or then there's like actual audience in the same Zoom with us. And sorry, Lucy, I missed your comment.
Bye, Lucy. Have a great night.
She said that.
Yeah, she's gonna sleep now.
All right, sweet dreams. Yeah. So. What was I saying?
And,
sorry.
Like, go ahead.
I like it when there's an audience in the Zoom with us, and I think my second favorite after that would be no audience at all. Like nobody, there's no reaction coming. You're the only one with the microphone on, and then my third favorite out of the three would be the comedians together. Like there are some rooms like the Blue Mic where that actually works because it's new material and everybody's being really supportive. But a lot of the time it's like, you know, everybody's just kind of like writing their set down. And
I'd love to see that in Lisbon happening, but we don't have like cohesion between each other. It's a shame.
Oh, but these are online that you can join.
Oh, you're online doing that. Okay, yeah, okay. And Julie, how do you react to the material that Harri does on the stage? How's your reaction to that? Do you think like it's what do you think?
I think he's very good, and
he is.
I laugh at some jokes like over and over again.
Yeah.
Some of them are like, okay, they were funny the first 20 times I heard, but now it's like I know it already. But yeah, I'm super proud of him because I don't think I could do something like this, you know, like being up there waiting for the reaction of the crowd and coming up with the material, not knowing if it's gonna be funny. I think that it takes some courage to do it, and again, like the smartness of creating it.
Yeah, but
So
you do something like we couldn't do. And if you wanted, you could pick up just like a microphone and just be yourself and you'll be funny. You know what I mean? It's like we need no prep. Well, the preparation
oh no,
is,
but it's different
yeah,
because like it's one thing to talk to you and say something funny. The other thing's like, okay, now I need to be funny. Now
yeah,
it's a
yeah,
different
yeah.
situation.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Of course, I was just teasing you, of course. And
It's like
but
he
the
can
thing
be a
is,
great
if you
pole
were a
dancer too.
comedian, well, sorry.
Yeah,
He can be a great pole dancer too.
sure.
Yeah, he can, of course. Okay, 15 days from now, we want to watch you pole dance, Harri.
Yeah, I would like to see that too, but I know I'm not going to, so I
No, of
have made
course
my peace
not.
with that.
Oh,
Rain
damn.
check. But Julie, what would be your material if you were a stand-up comedian? What would you talk about?
I think, because of course I thought about it, obviously.
Yeah.
I think I would talk about some main differences, cultural difference between Finland and Brazil. So
I'd see
yes.
that show. I would like to see that show. Let's put it together.
Yeah. And I think another thing I would like to talk is about, friends with kids, and how do you react to, because I
Yeah.
have all of my friends right now are having babies, so I have this
Yeah.
all around all the time.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
that
that's our great subject. Let me just write that down for a minute. We're gonna steal your material. Yeah.
you can do it. You can feel free
She
for it.
has some material written down, but she refuses
Oh,
to
I'd
show
like
it
to
to
see
me.
Yeah.
that. Oh,
Yeah,
come
me
on,
too.
let's do
I would
it.
like to
I
see
don't even
that.
know what it is anymore.
This
Oh.
isn't actually our house. This is my mom's summer house.
Yes,
I'm up
that
north
was
at
beautiful.
where my mom lives, and I was actually, we were talking about the midnight sun before this whole thing, and I could
Yes. Yeah, we're
outside.
gonna say goodbye because
It's
we
gonna
have
be a
just
lot
4
of
minutes
mosquitoes.
now.
Huh? What?
You have 4
We just
minutes.
have 4 minutes, so
Okay.
let's do that. I want to see it. I'm so curious to see it.
Well, the sun's
Is this too...
exactly up now, and it's a bit cloudy. Like last night, at least, it would have been really bright. It's not quite as bright now, but you can still see that it's not like the night there. There's a shitload of mosquitoes, and
but
that's
it's
why we
midnight.
didn't really.
It's almost midnight there, yeah? Oh my God,
It's
look
past
at that.
midnight. It's almost
Oh my
1.
God. Oh. That's crazy. My God, that's really crazy. Oh, it's bright light. It's like noon. Oh my God. Oh, that's crazy. That's some crazy stuff right there. Oh my God. That looks like when it snowed in Berlin, and like the snow makes everything white.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's amazing. That's beautiful. Now we would see like an aurora borealis passing out like
Well, you can't really see auroras when it's this bright. It has to be
yeah, of
black
course.
for
Yeah.
you to see them. So
Yeah, of
you
course.
can basically
Yeah.
only see them in the winter time.
I just wanted everything happening at the same time.
Well, I'm sorry, but that's not how anything works.
I know, but I wanted to. You could have put the production working on that, Harri, as we talked previously.
I'll put in a couple of phone calls. But
So
it is a
listen,
shitload
guys.
of mosquitoes because it's been raining all day and now there's like puddles everywhere.
Oh, go ahead.
So
No,
all the
don't let
mosquitoes are out, and that's why we didn't do the whole thing
mosquitoes
outside like we had planned.
No, but we have to go now because it's like one minute remaining. But I'd like to say see you soon to you guys, and I really miss you, and I miss the dear almonds. How do you say it? The meat.
Reindeer.
Reindeer.
Reindeer. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's
We
right.
miss you too. You have to come back here.
You have a place to stay in Lisbon whenever you want to come. Okay,
We will keep that in mind.
We'll have a great churrasco in the laje.
Let's do it.
Yes, with a marvelous picanha that my husband will do. And it will be great. And I loved to see you guys and to chat with you. Miss you a lot. See you soon.
Miss you. So good to talk to you.
Sweet dreams, and try to sleep with all that light. Bye-bye.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Ciao.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.